Everywhere there is life, but you must face death. Honor it. Do not fear it. Jedi. Ahsoka is Jedi.
Hello, welcome to Holocron Entries, the Explosion Network Star Wars podcast. Today we're talking about Tales of the Jedi, the Disney Plus original shorts series that's created by and written by Dave Filoni. It's basically a bunch of short films within the Clone Wars universe or stuff like that. With
But
the same
not really.
animation style. But yeah, no. Well, I mean, it's all the same. These have got some interest. There's some interesting discussion happening around these 6 shorts is what I'll say. So the first one, just to quickly run down them, because I don't really want to, I just want to go hey, which one did you like the most and what are your overall thoughts? And we don't need to go, we can go as deep as you want, not as deep as you want. But so the first ones, they also go in chronological order, as I'll say. What?
You didn't introduce me. I mean,
Oh, sorry, Ashley Hobbs is here.
Hey, Dylan, I'm excited to be here to talk about everybody's favorite Jedi. Yaddle.
Which is, yeah, I was about to say, which is so they do go in chronological order. So in case you were like, why the fuck does the first one start with Baby Ahsoka and then suddenly she disappears for the next 3 episodes? It's because they're actually chronological order. So there's no order to this. So anyway, the first one's Life and Death. The synopsis is a child goes through a rite of passage for unexpected results. Second one is Justice. Synopsis is 2 Jedi at dispatch to resolve a hostage situation on a distant planet. It's Dooku and his Padawan Qui-Gon. Then you have Choices. Jedi Knights investigate the mysterious death of one of their own. It's a Count Dooku and Mace Windu adventure.
No. Sorry.
Then you got the Sith Lord. Synopsis is a Jedi Master makes a troubling discovery. So this is again Count Dooku working with what's the stupid. I can't remember the character's name. Yaddle, sorry. And then we got Practice Makes Perfect. Synopsis was a Jedi Padawan is given a seemingly impossible exercise. So this is back to Ahsoka working with Anakin in this one, doing some training. And then the last episode was titled Resolve. The synopsis was a former Jedi is faced with the truth that they cannot be something they are not. And this is set after Order 66 with Ahsoka. Ash, what are your overall thoughts on these 6 shorts? Did you watch them back to back too? I just did.
I watched them back to back to back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah. What do you think?
Don't people love it when you put all the backs to backs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine. It was it felt like a bunch of it felt like what it was, a bunch of short stories that kind of fit in the Star Wars universe. I guess all these stories are technically canon. Kind of the overall idea being to explore Ahsoka a little bit more and also to explore Count Dooku a little bit more. Which, it did its job. They were fine. They were pretty. Yeah. I don't know what else. Yeah. They were neither more nor less than that.
I think so. This starts Life and Death, the first one, Ahsoka's baby. I think this is perfect for this short format Star Wars little animated thing. I think that's probably that may be my favorite of these stories because it feels like it can just sort of stand on its own. My problem with the majority of the rest of this is they're trying to tackle things that are just not, you can't in this time, right? So in the 3 episodes you get from episode 2 to 4, where you get the story that slowly is between all those, or especially the first 2, you're supposed to be able to see how Count Dooku is actually drawn to the dark side by seeing all these wrongdoings that are happening in the galaxy and how the council and the government aren't actually helping out people. And, you're supposed to get the idea that he's drawn to the dark side from his mind's sort of in the right place. Why he's getting angry is actually relatable and makes sense. He's angry for the right reasons at the government and this sort of thing. But because they're in short form, I don't feel like you really it's a story that just deserves its own whole season. You know what I mean? I feel like that's so much more interesting could be drawn out. And then by the time, the only thing that annoyed me too is that they spent 2 episodes where it's Dooku's getting drawn to the dark side himself, and then suddenly in the Sith Lord episode, it's just now they sort of just go, but like they make it all about how Sidious is the one to pull him over, which sort of annoyed me. I'm like, I know you spent 2 episodes setting up how he's going to get drawn over, and then it's the same as like Ahsoka when you get into practice makes perfect is that can sort of stand on its own, because it's actually sort of a complimentary thing to the last season of Clone Wars and explaining how she actually escaped Order 66.
It's literally like a pulled out moment from that series, you would argue. Almost a deleted scene. Yeah. At least the ending, I assume. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are people would complain online how did she manage to escape Order 66, because you watch the Clone Wars episode and, she gets on table and she's perfectly dodging all these, whereas all the other Jedi you see in the movies, like, they can't handle all the shots and stuff like that. And then this episode's basically like, you know why? Because every other Jedi's doing this stupid piss easy training, and Anakin comes in and goes, that shit, everyone passes it. It's easy. You want a real fucking test? Here, come do this. So it kind of, that one sort of can stand on its own as a...
My issue with this episode, what effect does stunning actually have on people?
Well, it knocks them out.
So it's like knocking out people out with like a heavy hit or whatever in football, right?
I would hope not, because that can cause long-term damage.
Exactly, that's my question. Isn't Ahsoka just having some sort of long-term brain damage or all these getting stunned constantly?
I don't know. I do not know.
Is the rest of Star Wars just a Ahsoka fever dream, and she's actually in a bed somewhere recovering from all the concussions that Anakin Skywalker has inflicted on her?
I don't know. But, I mean, it's a very common sci-fi trope. They always have stun guns. At least stun lasers and stuff like that. But no, I don't know how they work. I'm just going to assume that it's not the same as being hit on the head constantly and getting knocked out, like in sport or something, which can lead to major health concerns. And then by the time you get to Resolve, again, it sort of rushes through this, like major story. And so overall, before I move on to some sort of things where, I don't know if you've seen this, but some controversy around like this series as a whole and some different storylines and stuff like that. I would say overall, I enjoyed watching it. I think, again, it's like very beautiful. It's very well animated. It's got this wonderful Clone Wars art style and everything. There's some very beautiful shots amongst like there's in the Sith Lord, I think it probably has a lot of this really great imagery between Yaddle sort of like walking towards the light and Dooku
we finally know what happened
to the dark. Yeah, and that's really great. And then obviously even in Resolve, there's this fantastic, when the whole town's on fire and everything like that. Even Life and Death, like just seeing this beautiful forestry and everything like that. So there's lots of great stuff in here, and there are great moments amongst it all. But as a product in itself, I'm left going, why? Like it really does just feel like it's neither big enough to have and justify these stories that I feel like most of the stories that are in here deserve to be way bigger. And then there's only like a couple episodes out of all 6 that I'm like, these sort of like these work by themselves. Like I would say only Life and Death, the first episode, and Practice Makes Perfect, which is sort of a complimentary standalone short that can, if you're a fan of the Clone Wars, like it's just a fun little thing to watch. Those 2 stand alone, and then the Justice Choices Sith Lord don't feel like they're anywhere near enough time to give justice to that story. And Resolve is just rushing through this big Ahsoka storyline that was actually, so now getting into the drama. Resolve takes a lot of the plot threads from the E.K. Johnston book that came out several years ago, Ahsoka, including her going to this farming village, her making friends there. She's living in hiding for ages. Eventually an Inquisitor shows up. She has a battle. The battle plays out pretty much the exact same in this. However, they changed a bunch of shit, including, and the number one thing that a lot of people are upset about online is that originally they changed the brother-sister character to, I think it was the sister was queer, was gay and they were, I think they were black. And now they're white in this. So there's a whole bunch of weird, you
don't want a white snitch, do you? You don't want a black snitch, right?
I don't know.
It's more PC if it's white snitch.
It's really weird. And this isn't the first time that Star Wars has done look, I'm not totally against them. It's sort of always been an unwritten rule that at Lucasfilm, at Star Wars, they're like the books and comics are canon, But if we ever decide to retell some of these stories in live action or anything like that, the live action version of said thing is whatever happens in that.
The one in motion.
Yeah, that's what counts. So like I understand that, and that's sort of always been an unwritten rule. But I feel like when they take a nearly 400-page book, turn it into a 12, 15-minute short, and not only really condense the living fuck out of a storyline to the point you don't get to see all the relationships, the Ahsoka forms of all these characters and stuff, but then also change characters' ethnicities. And for people who really love that story, this is the thing. Like, I thought the book was fine. I'm not like super in love with it. However, a lot of people like it a lot, and a lot of people really liked those characters in particular, like in Ahsoka's relationship. So for those people, I understand how it could be and can be upsetting to have these characters suddenly change who they are, ethnicity, and the queer factor, which for people, you know, it was the first like sort of like it would have been like a straight queer character appearing in like Star Wars.
Dylan, this sounds like every single book reader dealing with every single movie being adapted.
Yeah, but
so
you shouldn't see it in house. You shouldn't see this sort of stuff happen in house. And this is, and the thing that people keep bringing up is this isn't the first time this has happened recently. There was also that thing, and we talked about it in the Bad Batch, where they actually redone Kanan's Order 66 from the comic book, and they changed it for when you see it happen in the Bad Batch at the start of that first episode or whatever it was.
Yep.
So they changed it there. That was another thing they changed. And then there's also the fact that it's not as bad in this. And like this is where you could be like, yeah, maybe it lines up, maybe it doesn't, but you sort of have to really force these puzzle pieces to fit together. Is that they actually did a fucking fantastic, and I would highly recommend it, audio drama a couple years back called Count Dooku Lost. I don't know. It's a Dooku audio drama. So it's not a book reading. It's a like straight up just original audio drama. Ash is going to Google it for me now and tell me what it's called. But it's called Dooku something. And some of that covers what you see amongst the 3 episodes here.
Is it Dooku Jedi Lost?
That's it, yes. Dooku Jedi Lost. I think it's written by Kevin Scott. Kevin Scott, there you go. Close. So that's really, really good. I'd highly recommend that. You know, fully voice acted, special effects, sound effects, music, all this stuff. Like, it's not a book reading, it's a straight up audio drama. It's good shit. That's really good. And some of the Dooku stuff in this, again, like sort of doesn't and may or may not line up with that. So, but it's mainly the last episode that people online are having problems with this. And I can understand why. And the thing is, no one can even turn around and go, but it was worth it because they changed stuff. But look what we have. We have this amazing storyline. No, they changed it for a fucking short, you know, like that's the part that sort of annoys me in a way. You didn't even change it for a movie, for a series.
Wow,
you know,
way to like degrade shorts.
No, it's not giving justifiable time to the source material that you're actually sort of using here. I don't like, it's just, and they could be
we could still get like an Ahsoka flashback during the Ahsoka TV series.
No, they still can't fix it. They can't fix the changing of the.
Be like, I remember it differently now.
Yeah.
The
skin color changes, yeah. Yeah, so that's, yeah. I don't know.
It's animated, they can fix it, right?
I don't think that's how it works. I want to hear that. I wouldn't mind hearing someone respond, because at least on my Twitter timeline, which I'm sure is different to yours, because I follow a few more like sort of Star Wars.
I've seen barely any mentions of this tale of Jedi, other than a bunch of like James likes
tweets. Yeah, okay.
This is terrible. I hate all of this.
Yeah. So yeah, I've seen a lot of tweets in the last couple of days since the drop. So other random shit I'll just shout out. I thought it was cool. So Janina, how do you say her last name?
Javaska,
who was the character or played the character of Ida Verso in Star Wars Battlefront. She voices Pavti, which is Ahsoka's mum. So I thought that was a sort of cool tie-in for everything there. We also got in the series, so there are some people that come back. Of course, you got Ashley Eckstein that comes back, plays Ahsoka, of course. Shocker. Matt Lartner comes back and plays Anakin Skywalker. I say come back because he's the voice in the anime series. But the other cool one, what was it? I forgot now.
Liam Neeson comes back.
So Liam Neeson comes back and plays Qui-Gon Jinn in that one episode. Yeah, one episode. So that's really cool. And then you also have Ian McDiarmid back as Darth Sidious, and then the random little voice actor thing was having Bryce Dallas Howard play Yaddle.
Yeah.
So she did quite a good job. I couldn't tell
universe.
it. I couldn't even tell it was her. So
look forward to her.
Like how we finally know what happened to Yaddle. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, so she dies, but she's in episode 1, right?
She's in episode 1. You never see her in Attack of the Clones. So.
And this is why.
This is why she died. I like this.
Here's my crazy theory. Let's chuck it out. Okay. Baby Yoda. Clone of Yaddle. Do you know?
No, I don't.
It lines up.
I don't know. No.
Actually doesn't, because he's like
700 years old, right? Because
yeah.
I'm pretty sure we found out that Grogu's older than that. So
yeah. Okay. I retract my theory.
Yeah, you should.
Unless they find a way to get time travel involved.
Yeah. Okay. Let's please.
Or they sped up his age.
No.
You know.
No.
In the cloning tube.
Head towards wrapping this up. Here's my question.
Okay.
Should they do more of these?
Sure. Why not?
I say no.
The only people who... It's only the hardcore fans who are going to be upset about some of the changes and stuff they make. For the general audience, I feel like...
Are they watching it? Are the general audience watching it?
But it's there. Like, hey, there's a new Star Wars thing. Check it out.
I don't reckon they're watching it.
Do you reckon any of these short projects that Marvel has done for Disney Plus, or like Disney have done for Disney Plus, have been worth it?
Groot. I'd be shocked if Groot wasn't watched. Everyone didn't watch Groot.
I feel like
what
they've
other
done.
shorts have they done?
They did all the Toy Story ones.
They did well.
The Baymax one. Obviously, they've got the Zootopia one that's about to drop in the next week or so.
That's just going to bang it. I'm going to watch that so much.
Yeah, but yeah. I feel like, again, this is like, hey, what's some easy content we can put out with our brands? And it's like, hey, it's little Star Wars stories that give an opportunity for like, some up and coming animation directors to have a shot at some of these characters and that kind of stuff. Give some of these actors paydays and that kind of stuff. I mean, sure, why not?
I don't know.
You think Dave Filoni doesn't have a bunch more stories he wants to tell?
The problem is that like it's not even.
Why do you think it's focused on Dooku? That's my only thing. Ahsoka, it makes sense because obviously we've got the Ahsoka thing coming up.
I don't know. I guess it's just like a character. I feel like
it is interesting, like kind of exploring how he turns.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Done with such broad strokes, but
it's deserved.
It's interesting because it's like the series is interesting because it's like definitely these little slices of life which have maybe super impactful in what's going forward.
Well, they're all big moments. That's the thing. Like they're all big moments in each of their lives. You get to see the first time Dooku just force chokes the living fuck out of a senator.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Qui-Gon's like, "What?
Yeah.
What's happening?"
Yeah.
I didn't know we have the Jedi powers.
And then
I will say I did enjoy it. Probably Sith Lord was my favorite episode. Just the opening and like obviously you got him destroying the records of whatever the planet's called,
Camino.
But then he talks to Qui-Gon, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. They're talking. This must be like set not long after the last episode. He must have just gotten Obi-Wan and that kind of stuff. I didn't realize it was set during episode 1.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. I like it, because when he goes and sees Sidious, he's like, "You've gone too far. You've killed him." You can tell he's actually
killed
upset.
My apprentice.
It's actually his apprentice. The other thing, so in that Dooku Jedi Lost thing, they explain how. So eventually, like Dooku again, a big reason why that series is really good because it explores Dooku's backstory. So he eventually around that time period before before the end of and the events of episode 1. Dooku leaves the Jedi Order, sort of like Ahsoka. He says he's just going to leave on his own accord because he gets sick of all the bullshit, like the stuff
bureaucracy and the
all that stuff he complains about. So he leaves. He's still on good terms. They actually let him visit the library to read stuff, he just retakes his title of Count, like from his original. That's where that part comes from. They explain that. So he like on his own planet and everything, sort of like he has the title of Count. So that's where he takes that back up and everything. But he's still sort of held in high esteem, and he's still allowed to visit the library and all that sort of stuff. So this is what I was saying, like you can potentially just fit those storylines in here. They never say anything about that here, if he's a Jedi or not, but like he may not be a Jedi here. He may have already left the what's
Jedi Council or whatever, yeah.
Jedi Council and stuff, yeah.
But he's not on the Jedi Council. Which is
just the Jedi Order, I guess, yeah.
That's interesting though, like that's the Mace Windu gets in. Yeah.
Following orders.
Well, this Mace Windu is like way different to the Samuel Jackson. Much more straight and narrow, you know. Pencil pusher. Plays by the rules.
Yeah, he always does. All right. That'll do it for this episode of Holocron Entries. Of course, keep your subscription feed open. Yes.
Can I say my favorite thing, actually, is the Ahsoka and what's his face from Alderaan.
Bail Organa.
Yeah, like them talking, and then she goes, hides above. He says the bit. The two stormtroopers are completely unaware and like look at each other.
They shrug their shoulders.
They shrug, and as they walk away, she jumps off the roof. That was cool.
She attends the funeral of Padme. And he tells her she's dumb. And she's like, yeah. Well, they are. In the Clone Wars, they spend all the time together. Like the series, they spend a lot of time. So it's her master's partner, you know? She's a sender, and they talked a lot. So you should watch it. It's a good show.
I'll tell you what, if we didn't have so many podcasts that we need to do every single week, we would do a Clone Wars rewatch at some point.
It's on the list of things that if we ever have time, that and
if we ever go
full
time and like you know, go, if everybody donates a bunch of money to Kofi,
that and Breaking Bad are the two rewatch podcasts. I feel like of stuff I've watched that I would love to do a podcast with you because you've never watched them properly. Well, you've watched some Clone Wars, but you've never watched Breaking Bad at all. So they're the two things I'd love to do. But yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. Make sure you keep subscribed to Holocron Entries. Of course, this is our Star Wars podcast at the moment happening on this feed. We've got Going Rogue, which is our Andor after show. So loving that. Absolutely loving living fuck out of that series at the moment. So make sure you're tuning in, listening to all of our spoilercast review discussions of that as we head towards the final 4 episodes at this stage. I found out there's actually 12 episodes, not 10.
Yeah.
Crazy times. And then we should have coming up early next year as well, the Very Bad Batch will be returning as we get towards the Bad Batch season 2. So that'll be cool as well. So you can follow all of our Twitters, explosionetwork.com/Twitter. You can join our Discord, come talk Star Wars with me over there, explosionetwork.com/Discord. And make sure you check out explosionetwork.com for all our other podcasts, including all new Marvelcast. And what do you want to watch? Let the Force be with you.
I've been warning them about the coming darkness. Let's hope all that training pays off.